And next in the National Marathon, we'll talk about the water crisis in Donbass, which is only getting worse on the eve of the heating season. The reservoirs around Donetsk have dried up and turned into steppe. The main canal that supplied the region with water, the Siverskyi Donets-Donbas canal, has been completely destroyed. The occupiers' promises to fix the situation using a backup water pipeline turned out to be yet another deception. Water is supplied according to a schedule that is not always followed, there is unsanitary living conditions, and the unbearable life without water could actually spread to other areas, including those controlled by Ukraine, experts warn. So the next news broadcast is at 11, but for now, TSN special correspondent Maria Vasilyeva will tell us how people are surviving in the territory occupied by the Russians and whether the water crisis can be overcome.
People will soon start killing each other over water. It's terrible.
The Yanakivsky Sea. That's all that's left.
We won't survive without water. We'll get lice and worms. Empty. Where
is the water?
Adults are going crazy waiting in line for barrels of technical water. Children are asking Uncle Putin to give them water. Videos about the unbearable life in Donetsk and the surrounding cities are spreading online. Since the beginning of summer, residents of what was once one of Ukraine's richest cities have been collecting rainwater and water from air conditioners.
So much for technology and innovation.
On social media, residents of apartment buildings are sharing life hacks on how to use the toilet.
Here I have a bucket in the bathroom. I put napkins in it, do my business there, wrap it up, take it outside, and throw it away.
All the occupation authorities managed to do was to set up plastic barrels, which are occasionally filled with technical water. In this already dirty water, residents sometimes noticed worms and larvae. How many invisible creatures, including disease-causing agents, are in this water? No one, of course, has investigated. But the Russian Z propagandist Steshin complained that he nearly went blind after washing himself with water from the barrels in Donetsk. There were amoebas in the water that were literally eating away at his cornea. One can only guess what the locals are going through. No one could find statistics on infectious diseases in the so-called DNR. No one cares. The reason for the water shortage in the occupied Donetsk region is the critical depletion of water reserves in the reservoirs, and locals are advised to hope only for water from the sky.
We have 9 reservoirs from which we draw water. If you add it all up, since 2022 we've taken more than 100 million cubic meters from these reservoirs. To replenish these 100 million and restore the reserves, it would take about a year and a half of precipitation and refilling. Winter is ahead. We're all hoping for snow.
No, precipitation won't help, experts explain. And it's not even because of the region's arid climate. The groundwater that used to feed local rivers and bodies of water has gone deeper underground. Because when the Russians blew up the Kakhovka Dam, the consequences reached Donbass as well.
The destruction of the Kakhovka reservoir disrupted the entire hydro system, essentially. The thing is, the groundwater disappeared. Basically, these underground rivers, so to speak, just to make it easier to understand, they simply ceased to exist. Because there is nowhere for them to draw from, and there is nowhere to draw from because their main source, which was based on the Dnipro and the Kakhovka reservoir, was destroyed. That's it. Water disappeared from the villages, it left the wells, it's gone now. And you can't reach it anymore. And no one knows how deep the water table has dropped as of today. Even before, in Donetsk region, it wasn't very close to the surface. Basically, this won't help. Rainfall has nothing to do with it. This is just an attempt to calm people down.
Donetsk residents are inspecting the condition of local bodies of water on their own and are coming to the same conclusion. It seems the water table has dropped even lower.
So I came to the lower Krinka. I want to show you something. The water used to be right here, where my foot is now. A stream used to flow out and run into the river. I found 3 streams that are still flowing there, but the water level isn't rising. What does that mean? It means there are no underground waters. They don't provide enough pressure or enough water. This is to dispel the idea that if they clean out the Krinka, the water will come back. No.
And this is what the water pipeline of the Siverskyi Donets-Donbas canal looks like now. The main water artery of the region has been destroyed. In January of this year, in order to speed up their advance on Chasiv Yar and make it easier to break through, the Russians blew up the canal pipe in several places, and in other sections tried to use it as cover for moving their infantry. So now, instead of water, there are just holes here and a lot of dead occupiers. But the canal is not just the pipe, it's also the destroyed pumping stations and dams, and the rest of the canal's infrastructure. Recently, the occupiers themselves published photos showing what the Donetsk filtration station looks like now. Drinking water in the occupied part of Donbass is now only available in stores, in bottles. All other water is officially classified as technical water. They don't say where it comes from. But unofficially, it's rumored that people are being given water pumped from mine dumps.
Those barrels that were mentioned, where do you think they come from? They deliver them as technical water, and that's very important. It can't be used as drinking water. You can't drink it, and theoretically, you shouldn't use it in any way that allows it to enter the human body. They take it from the mines because in reality there's nowhere else to get it, and they simply keep quiet about that.
In Donetsk, water comes out of the taps once every 4 days, and it looks like dirty liquid or foam. There's no way to purify this water. The filtration stations are destroyed, and there are no purification systems. And there won't be because it's just too much. It's too expensive. Drilling wells is just as expensive. They drilled one such well for the local hospital. But you can't provide for the whole city where up to 500,000 people still remain this way. Instead, streams and fountains are bursting everywhere from under the asphalt here. Due to numerous ruptures in the network, which has been neglected for years under the occupiers' management, Donetsk loses half of its already scarce water. In the fall, on top of all the water supply problems, another issue arose, the need to fill the heating system with water. To prevent people from draining water from the system, they decided to dye the heat carrier green. And it seems the occupiers have no better ideas. Without a ceasefire and the restoration of the region's unified water supply system, the area will continue to die out.
The whole system is just like our United States. And the same water infrastructure was built in such a way as to supply this state with water. But if, as a result of the war, we lose something like this and physically can't access it, then we see this kind of problem. And that's why they can't solve it using only their own resources, because it is connected to other regions, to water bodies, and that's why they can't do it on their own.
Donbass is historically an arid and water-scarce region. That's why a complex 130-kilometer canal system had to be built here, which takes water from the Siverskyi Donets in the north and supplies it. To the south of the region, because of the complex landscape and elevation changes, the water does not flow by gravity. It had to be pumped by pumping stations. Since the beginning of the war in 2014, part of the canal's infrastructure ended up in occupied territory. And despite the difficulties of interacting with the occupiers, it was still possible to negotiate ceasefires so that repair crews could go out. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, the Russians no longer care about this. Everything they can reach is being destroyed and blown up. So the system of technical facilities and reservoirs has degraded to such an extent that by the time of deoccupation, there is little hope of overcoming the water crisis here. According to experts' forecasts, after the Donetsk agglomeration, Mariupol will be next in line to face a water shortage.